You're listening to Working Through It, a storytime podcast with a mental health lens. Hello and welcome back to Working Through It. My name is Sierra and I'm your host. I'm a licensed clinical social worker here in the state of Florida. But before we get into all of that, yes, this is a storytime podcast with a mental health lens. And yes, we talk about all things mental health and storytime and we spill the tea. But let me tell you guys, this is a very special episode because this is the first episode that I've ever done with a video component. And I got to tell you, I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what to do with my hands. I'm so anxious about it. But I'm glad that you get to see me and that we have a space now on YouTube with trauma_therapy_talk, trauma therapy talk, where we get to come together and we can talk to each other. That sounds so nice. I never get to talk to my podcast peeps. And so I think that this is a great way for us to be able to come together and create community. If this is your first time tuning in, hi, welcome. This podcast is not therapy, but it is all about mental health. It's all about inclusivity so that you can know that just because you're struggling, you're not alone. And we share stories. My guests come on and share their stories all the time about things that they're struggling with, how they worked through those things and came out the other side. It's an encouraging time. And then we also have once a month where Clinicians Corner comes in and oh man, it's my favorite. I try out therapies. I bring on clinicians who are other therapists and talk about different types of therapy. We talk about virtual reality therapy. We've talked about EMDR therapy. We've talked about biofeedback therapy. I mean, the list goes on, and it has been so great to bring on all of my colleagues and to learn about different types of therapy and try them out so that you don't have to. And that is what this podcast is all about. That's what you can expect. And let me tell you, if you haven't already subscribed, you need to subscribe. This is a community for everybody. We come here and we just talk about things that are everyday struggles. And I think that the biggest thing, my heart behind why I did this is because while I am a licensed therapist and I have a private practice here in Florida called Hopeful Heart Counseling, if you're looking for a therapist, I recommend the link will be down below, but I don't want to do too much of a plug because really I want to share my heart. My heart is really that I don't have enough time in the day to sit down with all of you, but I do have enough time to make a video that can be a resource for you. And I, as a Latina woman, really like story time. So I wanted to find a way to kind of bring the two together, mental health and story time. And that's where this podcast was born, Working Through It. I love it. We have a great time. And if you haven't already, in the links, you can go ahead and click in on my homepage and you can make sure that you get notified anytime a new podcast is posted. But that's the goal and you made it. So join the family and join the fun. So join the fam and join the fun. Come on. What am I saying? I sound like a used car salesman. Listen, guys, if you like that kind of stuff, you should subscribe. That's as far as I'm going. Okay. I don't want to get too gimmicky, but I hope that you'll join because I really, really think you belong here. Thanks again for joining us today, friends. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, be sure to do all the podcasty things. Give us a like, share, and follow. That way you can stay up to date and find us right back here with more from Working Through It. Working Through It is a storytime podcast and is not intended for mental health services or advice. If you or someone you know is in emotional distress, contact 988 via text or call to be connected to your local crisis center.